Welcome to NarrativeNook audio tales where enchanted stories come to life. If you enjoy our stories, please subscribe, like and share to support our channel. Enjoy listening.
The carer understood Thomas's perspective, so she quietly walked off to pack his luggage. Meanwhile, Thomas was looking out of his window, his face creased and wrinkled in deep contemplation. His body had significantly improved after the treatment he had received. He knew that Nicole was the one who had provided such support to him. Besides, he also understood that she had no bad blood with Harvey and just wanted to help him. Thomas had, through the hard way, learned that Harvey had indeed morphed into a wicked person over the years. He had always felt guilty for Harvey's unfortunate upbringing, which had led him to enable Harvey. But then, he realized that his indulgence of him had resulted in Harvey becoming what he was. Harvey's life should have been peaceful, happy and comfortable, not filled with darkness and uncontrolled madness. If Harvey continued to latch onto his past, he would be forever stuck in his past with no hope of ever finding peace. Forget it, Thomas sighed, his eyes revealing a determined resolve. At this point, it was too late to change his mind, as he had already agreed to Nicole's plans. All he had to do now was to stay firm until the very end. He believed in doing so. At the very least, Harvey could get his redemption, albeit in a way he had never anticipated. In the afternoon, sunlight poured in, casting a warm glow in Nicole's room. After she had eaten her lunch, Nicole began lounging around until she heard a knock on the office door. "Come in," Nicole said. After the door had opened, Ella walked in. Nicole raised her brows in curiosity. "What brought you here?" "I'm here to treat you to a meal," Ella smirked. "We've agreed on it earlier, so why not make it today?" "Today?" Nicole asked, eyeing Ella with a mischievous look etched on her face. "The final results are not out yet, but you're celebrating an early victory already? Are you really so confident that you'll come up on top? You said I didn't have to secure the final bid, and that all I have to do is get my foot through the door. Well, here I am. I'm feeling good, so I thought, why don't I treat everyone to a meal? Besides, it's my way of showing gratitude to those who've helped me," Ella asserted. Nicole then rolled her eyes at Ella and revealed, "I can see your ulterior motives, dude. You're not just celebrating your progress." "Hee, not at all," Ella chuckled, running his hand through his hair while refusing to admit what he was up to. However, Nicole had already seen through Ella's intentions as she shook her head in amusement. It was obvious to her that Ella was doing this for Patricia. "You can ask Patricia. I'm fine with anything," Nicole replied, finally giving Ella an out. "Okay, thanks." Ella beamed and marched out of her office, which left Nicole chuckling at his inability to be subtle. Ella then went straight to find Patricia and proposed, "Let's have dinner tonight." "No thanks," Patricia declined, getting increasingly irritated by Ella's presumptuous behavior. "Nicole has already agreed. Aren't you responsible for protecting her?" Ella said, bringing up Nicole's involvement. "Ms. Riddle is going too?" she asked while frowning. "Yep, I said I was going to buy everyone dinner for their help before," Ella grinned, feeling triumphant. He thought there was no way Patricia could decline his offer if he put it that way. "Since it's a thank you for everyone's help, Ms. Riddle and I aren't the only ones who'll be there, right?" Patricia probed. Without much thought, Ella readily responded, "Of course not. Everyone is welcome to join." "All right then, you can go now," Patricia said, lowering her head to focus on her work. So are you joining?" Ella tested. "Well, I'll take that as a yes." Patricia's attitude was strange, but the bottom line was, she did not explicitly decline his invitation. Thus, Ella assumed she had agreed. Ella thought that as long as Nicole was there, Patricia should be too. With that, Ella came up with an idea and decided to call Jared. "Hello," Jared's cold voice blared out through the speakers. With a chill running down his spine now, Ella began to regret making the call in the first place. Then, he gritted his teeth in determination, and with Patricia in his mind, he continued, "Hey brother-in-law. It's me, Ella." After pausing for a moment, Jared's voice softened a little. Speak. Using the word brother-in-law to address Jared clearly pleased him. And so, Ella became more comfortable talking to him. Jared, I'm treating Nicole and the others to dinner tonight. You should come too, Ella sincerely invited. Although Jared's presence might affect the atmosphere, he was also the only person who could bring Nicole home without Patricia following her back. This was the best idea Ella could think of to isolate Patricia and get her to be alone. Yeah, sure, Jared agreed and hung up. Upon hearing the beep, Ella blinked his eyes in disbelief. He was so excited that he was on the verge of shouting out in joy. And after returning to Nicole's office, Ella grinned and said, Nicole, I'll make the reservations now. Do you have any special cravings? I'm good. Anything will do, Nicole replied, thinking that she was up for anything as long as it was delicious. If you have none, I'll make reservations in an Italian restaurant then, Ella informed. He then called the restaurant's number and booked a private room for them. Why did you book a room for so many people? Nicole asked in surprise. Patricia said that everyone who has given me a helping hand will be coming. I'm not sure how many will show up, so it's better to leave a few spots empty. Ella said confidently. For Ella, all he needed was for Nicole, Jared, and Patricia to show up. The game plan for him was that Jared and Nicole would leave once dinner was over, leaving Patricia alone. When that moment arrived, he would seize the opportunity to spend more time with her. What are you smiling at? Nicole asked with a frown, as Ella was grinning like an idiot from ear to ear. Seeing this, Ella snapped out of it and regained his composure. It's nothing. I was just wondering whether I should stick around or return to Bay Corp. It's still early, so you should probably get back to Bay Corp and get some work done, Nicole suggested. However, Nicole's response did not satisfy Ella, who argued, Nicole, I'll have nothing to do even if I do head back. Why don't I stay here and wait for you? Are you sure you'd like to wait for me? Nicole teased, having seen through Ella's intentions. Hee, I'm waiting for everyone, Ella chuckled, feeling embarrassed and nervous. Seeing that Ella was adamant in having his way, Nicole rolled her eyes out of amusement and warned, Don't disrupt our work then. I promise I won't, Ella declared with a solemn look, trying to appear more serious. Nicole shook her head and chuckled as Ella left her office in high spirits. It was hard for her to imagine that Ella actually liked Patricia. She wondered if Patricia would ever even like someone as socially awkward as Ella. If anything, the dynamic they had felt more like a one-sided relationship between an elder and younger sibling, where only one was fond of the other. Ella headed straight to Patricia's office after leaving Nicole's. Without saying anything to her, he stood around and helped, pouring her coffee and offering her snacks from time to time. Whenever Patricia raised her hand, a glass of water would appear and be handed to her. At first, Patricia was extremely resistant, but then, Ella remained silent and unintrusive. He simply stood nearby, ready to assist her when she needed it. This left Patricia speechless, and eventually, she just let him be. Ugh, Patricia groaned after a while, unable to stifle her frustration when another glass of water was offered to her again. After setting the files in her hand down, Patricia looked Ella in the eye and said, I don't need your assistance, and I'm not thirsty. Sometimes, I stop just to take a break. Oh, you can just rest. Don't mind me, Ella compromised. Then, he placed the glass of water down and took 5 steps back away from her. Having had it up to here with him, Patricia rolled her eyes and stared at Ella with a look of helplessness. Please get out. Come on. I swear I'll stay quiet and not bother you, Ella protested, and took another 5 steps back. Patricia glared at him, frustrated by his actions. To her, his mere presence was a disturbance in itself. Usually, there was nothing in the office that would constitute a challenge for her. However, she could barely focus on her work today, and it was all because of Ella being an annoyance, much like a fly buzzing around her ear. After drawing a deep breath, Patricia suppressed her urge to lash out, and with a measure of calm, she said, Get out. Wait, I promise not to come near you again, Ella pleaded. As long as Patricia did not make him leave, Ella was content to do nothing but see her work. Patricia, however, refused to agree to Ella's request. Instead, she maintained her glare at him without uttering another word. Ella knew Patricia was not going to compromise, but he really did not want to leave, lips and crouched down behind the couch. "I promise you won't see me. Is this all right?" It was at this point that Patricia was on the verge of throwing the stack of files in her hand at him out of frustration. Ella had deliberately come here to piss her off. "Suit yourself," Patricia said. Defeated, Patricia stormed out of her office, deciding that she would leave if Ella wanted to stay. After hurrying out of her office, Patricia went to Lulu's. Why are you here?" Lulu asked. And upon noticing the sour look on Patricia's face, Lulu asked, "Are you angry at something?" "I'm fine. Can I just use your place for a moment?" Patricia asked as she took a seat. Lulu frowned in puzzlement. "What's wrong with yours?" After completing her sentence, Lulu glanced outside and noticed Ella, who had just emerged from Patricia's office. She blinked in confusion, wondering what was going on. "Hey, I think Ella went into your office looking for you," Lulu informed. "Ignore him," Patricia replied curtly. Lulu widened her eyes and grinned as the truth of the situation dawned upon her. "Patricia, is there something going on between you and Ella?" "No way. There's nothing between us." "Don't overthink it," Patricia clarified sternly. "All right. Those are just my intrusive thoughts. Nothing to cry home about. You, however, will have more to think about," Lulu teased, her grin becoming wider as she glanced outside again. Ella's look of anxiety, coupled with his frantic search for Patricia, had made it obvious that something was wrong. Understandably, Ella, who had always shadowed Nicole, had taken a liking for tough and independent women such as the likes of Patricia. The only difference was that Ella had grown up, and was now able to stand on his own. In fact, Lulu found them to be quite a cute match. Lulu turned to stare at Patricia, only to find her busy with her work. So, she shrugged her shoulders and dropped the conversation. Meanwhile, Ella had gone to ask Nicole's secretary about Patricia's whereabouts after he could not find her anywhere. "I saw Patricia going into Lulu's office just now," the secretary replied. Ella shot Lulu's office a glance, and it just so happened that Lulu was also looking outside with a smirk. Defeated, he furrowed his brows and headed to Nicole's office. Since Patricia was eluding him, it would be stupid for him to follow her around and badger her again. If he went to Lulu's office, Patricia might just storm off again and find another place to hide. With that thought in mind, Ella stopped his search for Patricia and headed off to stay in Nicole's office. Soon, dusk arrived, announcing the end of the workday. Ella would finally get to see Patricia, as he had planned. After exiting the elevator, the group arrived in the lobby on the first floor. "Nicole, Spencer will be here to pick me up. I won't be walking with you. See you at the restaurant later." Lulu smiled and waved goodbye to Nicole. "Sure, see you later," Nicole smirked. Once Lulu had split from the group, Ella announced, "Let's go." "I'll drive," Patricia said, and went off to the parking lot to get the car. By the time Nicole and Ella reached the entrance, Patricia was already there waiting in the car. After they had all gotten in, Patricia drove them to the restaurant Ella had booked. Upon arrival, a bunch of people entered the private room Ella had booked. He was rendered speechless the instant he saw the room filled to the brim with guests. Patricia really isn't messing around. She literally invited an entire crowd. Even the secretary is here, he thought. Fortunately, Ella had made the necessary preparations beforehand by bagging the largest room. Otherwise, there would not be enough space for everyone. Patricia, on the other hand, was rather pleased to see the look of shock on Ella's face after a long, annoying day at work. "I hope you like buying dinner for an entire crowd. Who in their right mind would believe your crap about expressing your gratitude for everyone anyway? I already knew your intentions from the very beginning." Ella's intentions were as clear as day to her, even after she had said and done much to let him know that she was not interested in him. She was wondering if her act of rejection was not clear enough to him since Ella had not reacted to it in any significant way. Ms. Riddle. Everyone stood up and greeted her when Nicole entered. Sit down, please. There's no need to be formal. Ella just wanted to thank everyone with a celebration, Nicole smiled. Thank you, Mr. Riddle. Everyone thanked in unison. Upon hearing Spencer and Samuel express their thanks, Ella shot them both a look of disapproval and complained, "Why are you two joining in on the fun?" "Ha ha ha. Why not? After all, you're treating us to dinner," the two teased. "Stop it. I feel like you're mocking me," Ella whined. "No, we're just here to support you," Samuel explained. "I mean, this is good news, isn't it? We're just having an early celebration for you before you secure that bid." "Well, I appreciate it. Thank you, I'll do my very best," Ella promised, serious and unsmiling. Ella genuinely hoped to win the bid to prove to Nicole of what he was capable. He did not wish to disappoint her. After all, Nicole was the one who had entrusted this project to him, and he wanted to live up to her trust. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. People need experiences to get better at what they do. Nicole comforted and encouraged Ella by giving him a pat on the shoulder. "Yeah," Ella agreed, after which he looked at everyone. "Please, take a seat." After everyone had been seated, the server came over to ask them if they would like their dishes served. However, Ella stopped her before she could signal her co-workers. "Please wait for a moment longer. One of our guests hasn't arrived yet." "Sure, just let me know when you're ready," the server replied and left. "Who else is coming?" Patricia asked, feeling puzzled. She had already called everyone involved in the project over. She had even begged Lulu to get June, Spencer and Samuel to come over. Patricia genuinely did not know anyone else who was left out. Just as she was wondering who that person was, Jared walked in. She was stunned upon seeing Jared, and after regaining her composure, she turned around and glared at Ella. She knew it must have been Ella's idea, and above anything else, she was aware of Ella's intention of having invited Jared over. Ella had indeed been playing dumb all this while. Ella often looks like a sad, miserable kid. He looks like he's gullible and easy to trick, but he's actually really sly. He is getting Mr. Johnston to take Ms. Riddle home, so I don't have to. But just because I'm not the one taking Ms. Riddle home, doesn't mean I'll give him the chance to hang out with me alone. Patricia took a deep breath and sat down calmly, acting like everything was normal as she waited for the dishes to be served. Ella stole a quick glance at her. Seeing that she was not acting weirdly, he breathed a sigh of relief. He knew Patricia was too clever to not have seen through his plan, but there would be nothing for him to worry about as long as Patricia was not mad or anything. After everyone had been seated, the waiter proceeded to bring the food in, whereupon they began eating. The air in the room had gotten a little tense the moment Jared showed up, but everyone tried to keep their discomfort under wraps. After a bit, Jared took Nicole with him and left the restaurant. With them gone, the atmosphere became even livelier as everyone got louder. After Jared and Nicole had exited the restaurant, Jared looked at her. "You're still hungry, right?" He noticed that she had not eaten much before the two of them left the premises, and figured that she had not had enough. Nicole smiled. "You know, it gets difficult for everyone to relax and enjoy their food with you around. Let's head somewhere else. A little date just for the both of us," Jared smirked. Nicole gave Jared a playful look and linked her arm with his as they got into the car. "Why did you agree to Ella's request?" She was genuinely curious. Though she knew it was Ella's idea, she could not help but wonder why Jared had agreed. "Well, I am the in-law," Jared said as if it was an obvious fact, and as if it was not a big deal for him to look after his cousin-in-law. Upon hearing that, Nicole's eyes widened in surprise. "Really? Is that it? Is he that easy to please? Just because Ella is his cousin-in-law?" she wondered. Jared affectionately squeezed Nicole's nose. "Well, what else should it be? Isn't that right?" Curious and deep in thought, Nicole tilted her head and looked at Jared. "Not that there's anything wrong with that. But it just seems too easy for anyone to get you to do something, Like it doesn't quite match how you usually are. Jared smiled and gently held Nicole's hand. To him, nothing else mattered apart from the happiness he would feel whenever he was with her. They pulled up at a diner, ordered a few simple dishes, and began eating again thereafter. Having only nibbled on a bit earlier, they felt much better now that their stomachs were filled, both with food and the simple joy of just being able to enjoy a meal together. After dinner was over, Nicole cautiously asked Jared, "Are your people allowed to date?" Puzzled, Jared turned to look at her. "Why do you ask?" "I think Ella might have a crush on Patricia," she replied. In response, Jared flashed her a smile out of amusement. "That's for them to decide. It's not my place to get involved in things like these." "Oh, that's good," Nicole said. Nicole felt a little relieved. She had noticed that Patricia seemed to be resisting each and every advance Ella had made thus far. She was not sure if it was because they were not allowed to date, or if it was because Patricia simply did not like him. If it was about permission, she thought she could perhaps talk to Jared. Similarly, if Patricia had simply rejected Ella's advances out of nothing but pure disinterest in him, she would not interfere. After all, relationships should be forged based on mutual feelings, not pressure. "Mr. Johnston and Ms. Riddle, you really know how to enjoy yourselves, don't you? Leaving the kids at home for a romantic evening." Harvey's voice suddenly blared out behind them. As expected, the sarcastic comment made Nicole frown. "He's like a shadow you can never get rid of. Gosh, he's always around me. Why does he have to be everywhere?" Nicole, in a frosty tone of voice, snapped back at Harvey. "We're indeed not as meddlesome as you. Why does he have to butt in on how people raise their kids?" she thought. Harvey, who was feeling the sting from her words, replied, "I was just showing my concern." "We don't need your concern. You should rather pay attention to your own affairs," she said. "He really should stop poking his nose where he doesn't belong." Trying to suppress his anger, Harvey changed the subject and mellowed his tone. "Are you done eating? Nicole is getting ruder by the day. Am I really that bothersome to her?" he wondered. Instantly, Nicole got up with Jared. "Yes, we've finished. We'll leave you to eat your meal." Although Nicole's words were polite, her message to Harvey was clear. She was telling him to stay out of her and Jared's way. Harvey was seething as he watched them disappear from view, and so, he silently made a promise to himself. "Just wait until my plan works out, Nicole. Everything's going to change soon. Let's see how you treat me then." Then, a waiter approached him. "Sir, would you like this table? I can clear it for you right away." Harvey looked at the scraps of the meal on the table, and in unbridled annoyance he said, "No, that's not necessary." He was not really there to eat. He had deliberately entered the establishment upon spotting Nicole and Jared. His initial intent was just to see Nicole, but the encounter had left him seething with anger. Nicole hasn't changed a bit over the years. Her words are even sharper now. "Just wait, Nicole. Just you wait. In 3 days, you'll understand what it means to regret your actions," he fumed. After Nicole and Jared had left, they got into their car to head home. Leaning back against her seat, Nicole let out a sigh. Harvey is still the jerk he was years ago, just that he's even more obstinate and radical now. Nicole thought about Harvey's behavior as she recalled her days in school. He always had an air of arrogance about him, ignoring the feelings and opinions of others as if everything should just cater to his whims. She had never been able to figure out whether Harvey's affection for her was genuine love or just a sense of entitlement and possession, as well as an inability to accept loss, resentment for not getting what he desired. "It's simply childishness." Jared coldly spat, showing his complete disregard for Harvey. Harvey might have a plethora of schemes up his sleeves, but they were all rather childish and posed no serious threat. At most, they were just minor nuisances. To Nicole, Harvey's actions were nothing for her to worry about, for they were more annoying than anything else, which was why she was determined to put an end to them once and for all. Nicole glanced up at Jared and smiled, after which she shifted the conversation to something more pleasant. Nolan and Lana are craving ice cream. I've promised to get them some. Sure, let's go buy some, Jared said cheerfully. Then, the couple headed off to get some of the sweet, cold treats for their children, without giving a second thought to Harvey's recent attempt to rile them up. For Nicole and Jared, there was no reason to allow pesky trivialities to ruin their day. Back at the Italian restaurant, Lulu came up with an idea as everyone was finishing the last of their meals and preparing to go home. Why don't we change things up and go out for some drinks? Instantly, a colleague of hers said, I'll have to pass, Lulu. I need to organize some documents when I get back. I won't be going either. There's a curfew in my place. Several of her co-workers went on to inform her of their inability to join, to which Lulu responded in understanding. All right. It's optional. No pressure there. Once those who had opted out had departed, Lulu looked around and saw that the only ones left were June, Samuel, Spencer, Ella, Patricia, and herself. Let's head inside, Patricia said, not giving away much about Charlie. She had not brought Charlie here to drink, and she was not here for that either. As the group went in, Lulu hung back and looked across the street. She could not spot Ella's car, which made her worry. Will Ella show up? Can he even find this place? Lulu, hurry up. June called out. I'm on my way, Lulu replied and headed inside, completely oblivious to the van that had just pulled up at the curb. As the night progressed, Nicole and Jared were getting ready for bed when the phone suddenly rang. Such an unexpected call during such a late hour made Nicole frown as she picked it up. Ms. Riddle? Ella has been injured. Patricia's voice came through, sounding grave. What's going on? Nicole asked, her voice low and her gaze sharp. We were attacked at the bar. Ella got hurt while he was trying to protect me, Patricia explained, her voice filled with worry and guilt. Upon hearing that, Nicole tensed up. Where is he now? At the hospital, Patricia replied. I'm heading over now. After Nicole had hung up, she scrambled, preparing to rush out of the house. Jared, who had overheard the conversation, also got up. I'll go with you, he said, quickly getting dressed. Then, he gently took Nicole's hand, and they hurried off together. Don't be too worried. It might not be as bad as it seems, Jared explained in the car, attempting to calm her nerves. He figured that if Ella's condition was really severe, Patricia would have shared more details. Okay. Nicole agreed, though she still had a look of worry on her. When they got to the hospital, they saw Max, who had arrived after he had heard the news. Mr. and Mrs. Johnston? What's the situation? Jared asked Max. We have our men on the case, Max replied. Okay. Jared, holding Nicole's hand, led her into the hospital, with Max following them from behind. Outside the emergency room, the atmosphere was tense, with June, Samuel, Spencer, Lulu, Charlie, and Patricia all waiting anxiously. As Nicole approached them, Lulu immediately came up to her, looking deeply upset. Nicole, I really regret suggesting we go drinking. If I hadn't, perhaps this wouldn't have happened. It's not on you. Patricia quickly comforted her upon seeing that Lulu was beating herself up over events that none of them could have foreseen. Even if we hadn't gone drinking, something else might have occurred. She then turned to Jared and Nicole with respect. Mr. Johnston, Ms. Riddle. Nicole, sensing that Patricia might have more information, asked, What exactly happened? Tell us everything. I noticed someone following us from the moment we entered the restaurant. I wasn't sure who they were after, so I discreetly messaged Charlie, telling him to be on alert outside, Patricia explained. After you've left the place with Mr. Johnston, those people stuck around. They didn't react even after our secretaries had all left, which made me think the target was probably... She paused, looking at Samuel, Spencer, and the others, thus hinting that they might be the intended targets. And that was why she had agreed to Lulu's suggestion to hit the bar and ask Charlie to come along. But why Ella? Why would they target him? Samuel interrupted, puzzled. Ella was supposed to be protected, Patricia replied, her eyes narrowing. Our assailants probably knew this and therefore, they switched their target. Let's head inside, Patricia said, not giving away much about Charlie. She had not brought Charlie here to drink, and she was not here for that either. As the group went in, Lulu hung back and looked across the street. She could not spot Ella's car, which made her worry. Will Ella show up? Can he even find this place? Lulu, hurry up. June called out. I'm on my way, Lulu replied and headed inside, completely oblivious to the van that had just pulled up at the curb. As the night progressed, Nicole and Jared were getting ready for bed when the phone suddenly rang. Such an unexpected call during such a late hour made Nicole frown as she picked it up. Ms. Riddle? Ella has been injured. Patricia's voice came through, sounding grave. What's going on? Nicole asked, her voice low and her gaze sharp. We were attacked at the bar. Ella got hurt while he was trying to protect me, Patricia explained, her voice filled with worry and guilt. Upon hearing that, Nicole tensed up. Where is he now? At the hospital, Patricia replied. I'm heading over now. After Nicole had hung up, she scrambled, preparing to rush out of the house. Jared, who had overheard the conversation, also got up. I'll go with you, he said, quickly getting dressed. Then, he gently took Nicole's hand, and they hurried off together. Don't be too worried. It might not be as bad as it seems, Jared explained in the car, attempting to calm her nerves. He figured that if Ella's condition was really severe, Patricia would have shared more details. Okay. Nicole agreed, though she still had a look of worry on her. When they got to the hospital, they saw Max, who had arrived after he had heard the news. Mr. and Mrs. Johnston? What's the situation? Jared asked Max. We have our men on the case, Max replied. Okay. Jared, holding Nicole's hand, led her into the hospital, with Max following them from behind. Outside the emergency room, the atmosphere was tense, with June, Samuel, Spencer, Lulu, Charlie, and Patricia all waiting anxiously. As Nicole approached them, Lulu immediately came up to her, looking deeply upset. Nicole, I really regret suggesting we go drinking. If I hadn't, perhaps this wouldn't have happened. It's not on you. Patricia quickly comforted her upon seeing that Lulu was beating herself up over events that none of them could have foreseen. Even if we hadn't gone drinking, something else might have occurred. She then turned to Jared and Nicole with respect. Mr. Johnston, Ms. Riddle. Nicole, sensing that Patricia might have more information, asked, What exactly happened? Tell us everything. I noticed someone following us from the moment we entered the restaurant. I wasn't sure who they were after, so I discreetly messaged Charlie, telling him to be on alert outside, Patricia explained. After you've left the place with Mr. Johnston, those people stuck around. They didn't react even after our secretaries had all left, which made me think the target was probably... She paused, looking at Samuel, Spencer, and the others, thus hinting that they might be the intended targets. And that was why she had agreed to Lulu's suggestion to hit the bar and asked Charlie to come along. But why Ella? Why would they target him? Samuel interrupted, puzzled. Ella was supposed to be protected, Patricia replied, her eyes narrowing. Our assailants probably knew this and therefore, they switched their target. Samuel looked at Spencer, his face as white as a sheet. Are they talking about us? Looks like it, Spencer replied as shivers ran down his spine. They were fortunate to have had Patricia on their side, or they would have been in big trouble. Lulu, looking equally worried, turned to Nicole. Who are these people, Nicole? Nicole's expression grew tense, and her eyes narrowed into a slit. She had hoped to keep them safe by not getting them involved, thinking that ignorance would protect them. But now, they were in just as much danger as she was. They're after Ms. Riddle. Patricia chimed in, deciding to fill others in on it after she had seen how troubled Nicole looked. June gasped, her voice filled with fear. So Nicole is their main target. The thought that they were almost used as pawns to manipulate Nicole chilled her to the core. They owed their safety to Patricia and Charlie. Otherwise, they could have been kidnapped and tortured as means to coerce Nicole into submitting. Patricia nodded solemnly, her face brimming with concern. These people are relentless. Since they couldn't reach Ella, they've decided to focus on Samuel, Spencer, and the rest of us. Unable to stomach more, Nicole quickly steered the conversation away. How is Ella doing? She did not want to linger on the dangerous topic. They had limited information about the group, and there was no point in getting everyone even more worried than they already were. Ella sustained an injury in his arm. It's serious but not life-threatening. It's going to make work and daily activities difficult for him, Patricia quietly said. After nodding, Nicole looked around at her friends and offered them a comforting smile. You can all head home now. It's all right. Samuel and the rest hesitated, their concern evident. Maybe we should stick around a little longer. No, you should get some rest. I'll stay here until he's out of the ward, Nicole insisted, understanding that the recent scare had taken a toll on them. Then, Lulu looked at Nicole and said, "Okay, we'll leave now." She understood that they should go home. Besides, they all needed to rest up for the challenges and dangers they might face soon. And Lulu, try to get some sleep. I need you to handle the situation with Harvey quickly, Nicole said with a sense of urgency in her voice. In response, Lulu nodded. I understand. She realized that they had no time to spare. Their issue with Harvey had to be settled as quickly as possible due to the fact that Nicole had bigger problems on her plate now. All right, we're leaving. But call us if you need us, okay? June said. Nicole's family were all in agreement with each other. If they could not be of help, it was best that they did not get in the way. Be careful out there, Samuel and Spencer said to Nicole out of concern. I promise to keep her safe, Jared confidently stated. Feeling reassured, Samuel and Spencer nodded at Jared, trusting him to protect Nicole. Right after the others had left, Jared gave Max a meaningful look. I'll get the security detail ready, Max responded, understanding Jared's concern for their safety. Charlie, with a serious expression, then told Jared, I have to leave, Mr. Johnston. Jared, sensing that Charlie might have found something important, nodded. All right, go ahead. Charlie then gave Patricia a quick look and hurried out of the hospital. Ms. Riddle, it was all a blur. A guy pretending to be a waiter started a fight, and then a bunch of people barged in. That's when Ella got hurt, Patricia said in a somber and heavy voice, her gaze fixed on the emergency room door. Patricia remembered being irritated that Ella had tagged along when he had agreed that he would not. The next thing she knew, he had jumped into the fray. She was busy trying to shield Lulu and in the process, overlooked the other assailants who were sneaking up on her. But by the time she had gotten a firm grasp of the situation, she saw that Ella's arm had already been slashed. That was when she and Charlie quickly neutralized their assailants and rushed Ella to the hospital. Ella's wound was bad but not crippling. Still, Patricia could not shake the feeling of guilt as she thought, if I'd been more alert, Ella wouldn't have ended up with a gash in his arm. Nicole saw the look of guilt on Patricia's face and tried to reassure her, don't worry too much about it. The fault is on nobody. After all, it had all happened so fast, and Ella had gotten hurt trying to protect Patricia. Nobody could be blamed for that apart from their assailants, and Nicole was sure Ella would rather be the one to take the hit than to allow Patricia to be the one in his place. While they were talking, the door to the emergency room opened, and the doctor stepped out. Seeing this, they quickly went up to him. Doctor, how is he doing? He didn't break any bones, but the cut is pretty deep. He's going to need to be careful for a bit, the doctor explained. After sharing a few more instructions with the trio, he ordered the nurse, take the patient to his room now, please. Will do, the nurse answered and left to prepare the room for Ella. As Ella was wheeled out on a stretcher, Patricia saw the rivulets of blood seeping through the bandage on his arm. The very sight of that deep gash caused her to bite her lip in anxiety. We should head to his room, Nicole suggested, her eyes brimming with concern. With that said, they hurried to Ella's room. Nicole and Jared were hovering over Ella's bed anxiously as he reassured them. "I'm fine, really. It's late. You guys should go home." He did not expect them to be so concerned. He had downplayed his injury, insisting it was minor. After all, he could not just watch as Patricia ran the risk of being hurt. Thankfully, she was okay, and his injuries were not serious. Now that it was all over, he did not want everyone to worry too much. Nicole, observing Ella's pale complexion, firmly told him, "You need to be quiet and rest up. That's what the doctor ordered." Ella flashed her a faint smile in return. "Honestly, I'm fine. It's just a minor wound." Turning to Patricia, he added, "And you should also go home and get some sleep." He knew that while Patricia had not been physically hurt, she had still struggled through the ordeal of the fight. Ella was aware of the numerous tasks and investigations that would soon follow and understood that Patricia would need all of her strength for what was to come. "No, I'm not leaving. I'm staying right here," she said firmly as she met his gaze. She could not bear the thought of leaving Ella alone in the hospital, especially after he had taken a slash on the arm while protecting her. "Really, you don't need to stay. I'm okay by myself, and I can always call a nurse if I need something," Ella replied. He was worried that Patricia would be spending the night in the hospital because of him. He would rather she go home to get some rest after all that she had been through. However, Patricia was adamant and resolute on staying. She gave Ella a meaningful look before addressing Nicole and Jared. "Mr. Johnston, Ms. Riddle, go on. Head home. I'll handle things here." Nicole, understanding Patricia's determination, finally relented, but not before reminding them, "Okay then. Make sure to get some rest yourselves." Then, she turned around, prepared to leave the hospital with Jared.
Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this story, please like and share so others can see it too. Also hit the subscription button and notification bell so you can be notified on our next release. Thank you for your support. God bless you.